Hello, today I'll be embarrassing myself by trying to code this, which I've obviously coded before, since I wouldn't have the video recording of how it works for this challenge otherwise. But the thing is, this is not the kind of stuff that I normally code. With geometric demos, it's a lot easier because I just need to get the ball rolling and then it avalanches downhill. It doesn't really matter. I only need to have a starting point and then I can deduct every little thing from the previous one, and it's a lot easier because it's logical. But here there are a lot of little components that don't depend on each other and need to be figured out separately, and I'm pretty bad with that. I'm downright incompetent. Anyway, let's see the constraints. The first one is Node.js, no SVG, which means obviously just HTML and CSS. 4 paragraphs plus an optional wrapper, which I won't be using. I'll be using the body because I'm too lazy to add a wrapper. No other elements for visuals, and this is pretty important because this is the main reason why I launched the challenge. The whole idea is to do this with the technologies we have available today, with compact code, without having to write a lot, without a lot of effort. Well, this kind of involves a lot of effort for me because it's complicated for me, but that's beside the point. The thing is, we could have done this 5-6 years ago, but it would have been hacky. It would have required a lot of extra elements just for visuals. So this is what I want to avoid today. Under 50 CSS declarations, including those in style attributes. This is pretty self-explanatory. Same non-custom property values for all paragraphs and their pseudos. And by this I mean I can't have background green and then nth child to background gold, for example. I need to have the same background for all paragraphs. Of course, different visual results depending on which paragraph we're looking at, but yeah, we'll see about that in a moment. Now, one last thing I want to make clear is I found this on Shutterstock. I did not design this. I'm completely incompetent with that kind of stuff as well. So I should get started and stop talking because that's kind of boring. What I have here is the stop lists, first of all. So let's look at them. Here I have from light to dark, here from dark to light, light to dark, dark to light. So the direction of the gradient depends on the parity. Here I always have the light first one, and the second one is always the dark one. And then I also have the paragraph text. Okay, so this is the number of elements in this array. Just to read its length. And now I have a loop for I starting from 0, going all the way up to n, and then being incremented at every step. I have a paragraph, and the content of this paragraph is, okay, I can't type, what's new? We should be seeing it now. Okay, we are seeing it. That's good. Now we'll be setting a few styles in line, and the first one is the paragraph index. So that's the loop index. I won't be changing that. And then I also have the stop list, which again I read it from this array, just like I did the paragraph text. And then also I'll be setting a few other styles. And on the root, which is not written like that, I'll be setting a parity index, which I'll be calling J because I don't know what else to call it. And it's 0 by default. And then for the even paragraphs, nth child to n, this becomes 1. Okay, so now that I've done this, let's move on to the styling. Yeah, it's another class. Let's give them a width, so restrict their width. As I said, I'll be using the body as the wrapper. I'll just be doing display flex. Just put everything in the middle. And okay, a couple more things. So for all elements, I'll be setting box sizing, border box, and margin 0. Okay, and let's also set now everything is in the middle. Let's absolutely no relatively positional paragraphs, absolutely positioned after pseudos. Top 0, right 0, bottom 0, left 0, empty content, and let's just give them a background, a dummy background at first, and then let's make this a linear gradient and use the stop list. Okay, we want this background to be under, so z index -1, so we have it under the text. Let's make it in the other direction because now it's top to bottom. Okay, and I don't want it to always go from light to dark, so let's compute a sign here, and this sign is going to depend on the parity. So let's make it calc1 minus twice the parity indicator, index or whatever. And that was J, not I, sorry. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm going to multiply this sign with 90 degrees. Oh, and this should be a calc, sorry. Okay, that should have worked. Seriously, that should have worked. Oh, okay. One extra dash. And the thing is, the direction is wrong, so I need to go the other way with the direction. Okay, now I have the right direction. Now let's add a padding here. So okay, I don't like the leading 0 addition. Something like this. Let's also set a color. And let's also set a font. Okay, that didn't. Okay, that's too thin. Let's make it thicker, something like this. Okay, this is better. Let's set a transform here, and this is going to be a skew x. This should be good enough. Okay, now let's also add a before. And this is going to be content. First off, on the body, let's set a counter reset. And here let's set a counter increment. Yeah, like this. Decimal leading 0. Okay, let's increase the font here, so font size 5 ems, that should do it. And something else, font weight. That doesn't seem to help, to be fair. Okay, now let's also set display flex here, align item center. Okay, something like this, I'm guessing. So then, yeah. I wish I could see the width. I should be able to see it, and for some reason I'm not. Okay. Something else I'll be doing here is order, make it depend on J. Okay, so works like that. Now the next thing that I'll be doing is not let this just put a stop point. So medium, something like this, and make a white flag equal to 1. Initially this white flag is 0, so here I'll be using a calc and multiply that with the white flag. Okay, so yeah, okay, and now this max width right here, again I'll be making it a calc. And this is for the situation when it's not wide. So something like this. So when it's not wide anymore, just okay, and I'll also be doing a narrow thing, which is going to work similarly. Min width 320, and narrow is going to become 0. So narrow is 1 only in the situation when okay, so how this helps is, the thing is, I don't want to have the numbering on the side. Also this padding right here, let's make it a calc. So this is only going to work for wide. And if it's not wide, I'll be making one that depends on the viewport. So let's see. Looks a lot better this way. And as I said, I don't want to have that always on the side. So I'll be doing flex direction. And this is going to be a flex direction flag, which is going to be my narrow value. And it's going to be column by default. So the thing is, I can set multiple column values, and now here you can see it's not on the side, but it can be below, and I don't want to do that. So here in the order, I'll be making this a calc as well, and be using the narrow. So that's going to be 1 minus narrow, actually. So when this becomes narrow, the order value is always going to be 0. So it's going to be on top. Okay, that's good. Let's make this slightly bigger, because I do believe it's going to help. Okay, that looks good. Now, one more thing I want to do here is padding 0 and something like this. So it's going to depend on the parity. So let's see, this is going to be 1 minus j. Or the other way around. Let's see if I increase this. Okay, it's the other way around. So just switch them up. Okay, now actually I'll be making this a multiplier calc and use it and use that multiplier here too. Just to make that padding 0 when I need it. Okay, so so far so good. Now something else I'll be wanting is a margin left, and I want this to depend on the index times something like 5n, something like this, but it's going to be with minus, something like this. I'll be doing something. Let's see. Let's also set a number n, and this is going to be, I need to interpolate it, half of n minus 1. Actually, let's make this a p so it doesn't get confusing. So let's do that. So p minus I, and we can remove the minus from there. So it's like this, and we'll also be using the parity. So okay, I didn't need a notification. No, please don't stop it. Okay. Yeah. This is not quite what I wanted. Minus j. Some not quite. .5 maybe? No. So okay, this looks better. And like this, it's, yeah, I'll be leaving it like this. And of course everything multiplied with wide, because otherwise it just doesn't make sense. Okay, so now that I'm doing this, yeah, this should do it. Okay, this looks good. Now the next thing that I'll be doing is adding that shadow thing. So shadow, be having a shadow width and a shadow height. Okay, so this is going to be minus shadow height. Then I'll be doing padding bottom shadow height. Make this background here content box, and also have another radial gradient from black just to red so we can see it. Okay, and something else I want to be doing here, z index calc -1 times the index I don't know what the heck I did there, but whatever. Okay, so this is going to be calc, and it's going to depend on the parity, so that's going to be j times 100% at the bottom, so 100%. The width is the shadow width, and the height is twice the shadow height, and no repeat. So now that I've done this, okay, let's replace this red with transparent, 70%. So that's a bit too strong there. So let's make this RGBA. Something like this. So now I have that shadow as well. And let's use a background here, and let's say it's going to be linear gradient 90 degrees silver Gainsborough, something like that. And I now have my result, as you can see here. So yeah, this is pretty much it. This is what I wanted to show you for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you want me to be able to do more stuff in the future and not end up dying in a trash can anytime soon, please consider supporting my work. You can do it in one of the ways explained in the description below. With a donation, there's a donation link there. Or you can make this kitty very happy by getting her something off her Amazon wishlist. There are going to be links for that as well. Or you can at least share this to show the world what can be done with CSS these days, because honestly, I think it's pretty damn cool. In any event, thanks for watching.